with the relative no-show by A&M over the weekend, that certainly opened the door for Washington and eventually maybe Ohio State to jump into the top four. Did you expect that? Did you sense enough vulnerability in the Aggies that Saturday didn't surprise you?
You know what? Nothing surprises me in college football. You can go back years ago. West Virginia looked like they had a shoe-in to get into the first playoff and playing a very average Pitt team rivalry game, and it was didn't think it would be a game, and it was a no contest for Pitt. Every week it happened. We see it every week because of match. It's different than pro football because of college football. The styles, the matchups, and just the emotion of the game and the grind of it. So it didn't surprise me at all. It never surprises me with an upset.
You know, Coach, I'm always interested when I look at the committee members and their history. How do you keep the bias away from getting into the conversation? And in Michigan, it's in the top four. Ohio State's right there on the door. You guys as well are sitting a couple spots back. But the Big Ten, there has to be a bias. How do you keep the thing rational?
Well, I think we've got 12 people that come in prepared. 12 people. I know one thing: if there would be anyone that would try to lobby for a particular team, I think they'd be turned off by everyone in the room. I think everyone has integrity, and they all come in prepared. They all come in feeling comfortable to speak their mind and what they think, and then basically it comes down to voting.
And I
don't know how anyone votes. Yeah. I know one vote, mine.
Oh, that's interesting. And as we see, Coach, here, voting is never divisive and controversial. Voting is always just a smooth transition, whether it's for the president or for the Final Four teams. Voting is always a nice unifying thing in our country, huh?
Well, you know what? This is not just sit down. Let's vote for the top 25.
Yeah. There's
a process. I don't know if you guys have gone through the mock selection. Just go through the gymnastics of it, but. We spend a lot of time. I'll bet we spent 2 hours yesterday afternoon. Our final thing we talked about were the 20 through 25 and retracing our steps and reevaluating everyone and taking a look at comparisons to come up with what we thought were the proper positions for teams. And no one would think of that. You think you're just worrying about 1, 2, 3, 4. But we put a lot of thought into it, a lot of preparation, a lot of comparisons, because we want to make sure that we do it right as best we can.
See, that's interesting. Excuse me, talking to Barry Alvarez, the athletic director at Wisconsin, and he's with us here on Tiki and Tierney, CBS Sports Radio. Just a quick aside, tomorrow Kirby Hocup will be with us on the show, the committee chair, so make sure you're making notation and make sure you listen to us tomorrow. So as you spend time on number 20 and 22 and 23, the cynic and the critic of that, and I certainly respect that. I think it's obviously an all-encompassing conversation, which is great, and a credit to you guys and women in the room. But let's face it, Barry, let's be realistic for a moment. You can make the case now that the number 9 or number 10 team has zero chance to crack the top four. So I say this kind of with a smile, but why waste time on teams that don't matter?
Well, I think if you go back and look at where Ohio State was, our first rankings the first year, they were in the teens. And if we're going to do the rankings, you're going to do 25, you want to get it right. And it's not just about ranking the top four. It's about trying to get 25 ranked what we think is accordingly.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is. That is interesting, and I think it's part of the job that a lot of people don't pay attention to. Part of your job that I think a lot of people are going to start paying attention to is some of the things that are coming out from some of the athletes at the University of Wisconsin. I don't know if you've talked on this yet or not, but Nigel Hayes talked about the racist feel that he feels on campus. How do you respond to that when you hear that from some of the athletes?
Our athletes, about 20 of our athletes put out a statement. And when I got it, I got to tell you, I was proud of them. I was very proud of the thought they put into it, how they expressed themselves. But that's why you come to college, is to learn to think for yourself and to express yourself. As an administrator and somebody on this campus, they're not talking about just an issue at the University of Wisconsin. This is a national issue, and now it's to take it a step further. What can I do? What can our administration do? What can they do what can our campus do? Mm-hmm. And so I took it as a very positive that the athletes put enough thought into it that they put out a very sensitive and intelligent statement.
You know, Barry, I took away the same thing, and Tiki and I spent some time on this, obviously, on the show yesterday, so the timing is great that you're on with us. The one thing that I would add, while I love the forum that they utilize and definitely was prepared and reasonably well thought out, my only critique, but I do think it's an important one, I kind of wish they were a little more specific, because when they lump, when it's such generalities, I almost feel as if they impugn the integrity of all professors. Like, if they're being excluded from certain classes, or to me, if I'm a teacher at Wisconsin and I didn't do that, I'm sitting there saying, whoa, you kind of paint with a broad brush here. And I don't want to say it's irresponsible, but I thought they could have been a little bit more specific. I would critique them on that. Is that unfair?
No, I think that's fair. I don't think anyone wants to be lumped in, just like they don't want to be lumped in and characterized as everyone, individuals characterized by a group. And I think, sometimes you can learn from that, and I'm sure they would take that criticism.
There you go. Barry Alvarez with us here on Tiki and Tierney, the Wisconsin Athletic Director on CBS Sports Radio.
In the short term, Barry, you talk about what you can do. What can you do? I mean, what will you do and the administration do going forward to help alleviate some of this pain that I think some of these African-American athletes and probably African-American students on campus are feeling right now?
I think we have to have serious dialogue, and people have to listen and come up with solutions. How each of us can, how we as administrators what can we do individually and do our part and make things to try to make things better rather than point the finger. I think we need to sit down and come up with solutions, and we'll have we're putting together a meeting right now so we in the administration can sit down and visit with our athletes, and then our campus has got to do something, and our athletes will have to do something. So I hope we can be productive with it.
Don't you miss coaching, man? I know I'm shifting gears abruptly, but how do you not miss coaching, Barry?
I miss the kids.
Yeah.
I miss being with the kids every day. I miss the relationship with them. I miss the relationship with the staff. I don't miss the stress and the grind of the game. I miss the most celebrating after a big win.
Yeah, but what about a tough loss when it's just you and the bottle of scotch?
That's what I don't miss.
Exactly. So, Barry, we know you're doing some stuff with U.S. Cellular. It's a Most Valuable Coach award that you guys are very proud of. Tell us exactly what's happening with this, Coach.
Yeah, it's really a neat program. I joined U.S. Cellular, asked me to be a part of it and help promote it. Being a former high school coach, I know what the high school coaches do and the effect they have on young people and how strong they are in community. So we've promoted that. We have 15 finalists from around the Midwest, and you can vote up till November 18th. They'll shut the voting off then and come up with the 2 finalists. So it's a great program. We have some outstanding coaches that are still in the running, and just encourage people to go online, themostvaluablecoach.com, and support a high school coach.
Well, I'll tell you this: it's without the great high school coaches, it's funny what you miss about the kids. High school coaches, the impact and the shaping, and it's amazing. I've said this a few times here, Coach. If I wasn't doing what I do for a living, I'd probably be coaching. I don't know if I would have made it to the collegiate ranks. I would have certainly aspired to that. But profound respect for the craft, both men and women, even the high-profile sports. It's awesome. This is a great endeavor, and I know you're really proud to be a part of it. So we'll tweet out